Data quality is very important in research. If we produce our own data, of course we control the quality to a degree, but if we use data from the government or from the private sector, then we should never take these data at face value because they may not paint an accurate picture of reality. We must understand that data are not like water that bubbles out of the ground as a result of the operations of a government or a corporation. There are actually very, very complex processes and rules behind data. Economic processes, political processes, legal processes, such as information laws, statistical laws, data sharing rules, privacy laws. They all influence data to a degree, and they may contribute to the fact that data are just not accurate. In the ASEAN Plus database project, I looked at data quality of all countries in the ASEAN and ranked their output. So most people agree that it's quite hard to compare data from a developing country such as Cambodia or Myanmar with a developed country, for instance Singapore or Malaysia. But as researchers, we need to be a little more precise in this point. So in my analysis of the statistical systems of Southeast Asia, I broke down data quality into three main factors: institutional framework, statistical processes, and statistical output. All these factors, they have dimensions, 10 dimensions in total. Each dimension has between 3 and 5 indicators. So I rated all these indicators on a scale from 1 to 10. The average of the indicators is the dimension rating, and the sum of the dimension rating is the total quality rating of the statistical system of a country. And with this data quality assessment, we can actually compare countries and see where they differ in their data quality. This is quite useful for capacity building, but also it's very useful when we want to qualify data as researchers. Where exactly can we not compare specific data, and why is that so? Most researchers think that if their data are more or less accurate, their results will also be more or less accurate, but that's actually not correct, because depending on your model, you may get something that's totally off if the data inputs change. For instance, let's say you work with rates of change, or if your model deals with phase transitions. Even small changes in the input data may give you the opposite result of what you got before. So in these cases, we have to be very, very picky and very precise about the quality of our inputs. The first thing we should do is try to understand the rules and processes behind the data. With that in mind, we can understand what's actually going on and what kind of data we get. Complex economic and political processes influence the data that we get as researchers. Even in big data, this is the case. There's always a judgment behind it, so we can never take the data we get at face value. Think about it. Why does somebody put a sensor in a certain place? Why do they go about measuring an indicator in a certain way and then sharing these data? In our research, we depend heavily on the data that we get from the government or from private corporations, and we should care very much about data quality. If we don't know the quality of our inputs, then how can we make a strong statement with the results from our work? I think working with data in a careful way is very important because it helps us qualify the outputs that we get. And this starts actually much earlier, already when you define your research questions or when you create or select a model. You should think what the impact would be if the data quality changes or if the inputs change. Understanding the bigger picture of the data we use in our research will definitely make our work stronger in the end.